Lecture 6, Coulomb's Law. So far, we have discussed about electric charges, how to detect the presence of charge, various methods for charging a body, and some basic properties of electric charges. Today, we will discuss about the force between 2-point charges. It was a French physicist called Charles-Augustin de Coulomb who measured the force between charged sphere using a torsion balance. He thus arrived at the inverse square law relation, which is now known as Coulomb's law. Now, let's see what was his experiment and how did he arrive at his relation. Torsion balance consists of a cylindrical glass case closed by a lid that contain a glass tube. This tube is closed with a metal called suspension head or torsion head. A torsion fiber is suspended from this, and this fiber acts as a very weak torsion spring. It holds a horizontal needle made up of lac with a small brass disc at one end and a spear at the other end. This large spear is just to balance this needle. The height of this needle is adjusted by a knob. A scale that is circumscribed on the glass case, which is used to measure the torsion produced in the fiber. In order to study the force between charged bodies, Coulomb charged the brass ball with a non-charge of static electricity. He then suspended a small metal sphere B having a same charge of brass ball A through a hole on the lid of the glass case. We know when same polarity is brought near, it will repel each other. Here also, the two charged balls repel one another, twisting the fiber through a certain angle. This torsion angle of the thread was measured using the scale marked on the glass case. Also, in order to understand the relation between force and charges on the bodies, Coulomb removed the sphere B from the hole and made in contact with an uncharged sphere of same size. When a charged sphere placed in contact with an uncharged one, they share their charges equally. Thus, the charge on sphere B get halved. This sphere was then placed back into the balance and he observed that the repulsion between the charged bodies was less. He repeated this process for a fixed pair of charges by varying the distance and measured the force for different separation. Then, he varied the charges in pairs by keeping the distance fixed for each pair. By comparing the forces for different pairs of charges at different distances, Coulomb found that force between 2-point charges is directly proportional to the magnitude of these two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Mathematically, if there are two charges Q1 and Q2 separated by a distance r, then F is proportional to Q1 into Q2 and F is inversely proportional to r square. By combining these two expressions, we can write F is proportional to Q1 Q2 by r square. In order to remove this proportionality, we use a constant which is called Coulomb's constant. Therefore, F is equal to K into Q1 Q2 by r square. The value of K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, where epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space and its value in SI unit is 8.854 into 10 raised to minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. The value of K depends upon the medium that we will discuss in the coming lectures. In free space or in air, K is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. By substituting this, we get the force between the point charges F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by r square. This is the Coulomb's relation. And Coulomb's law states that the electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion between 2-point charges are directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. And the force acts along the line joining these two charges. F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by r square. If Q1 and Q2 are same charges, then force between them is repulsive. If they are opposite charges, then force between them is attractive. So this is Coulomb's law and its relation. Since force is a vector quantity, it has both magnitude and direction. So in the next lecture, we will discuss how Coulomb's law can be expressed in vector form.